Kruger Gate near Skukuza in the Kruger National Park. Let's go there live.
Providing employment and economic growth opportunities to nearby communities. Illegal poaching and illicit wildlife trade continue to threaten both our conservation and sustainable use efforts. The Kruger National Park has been under heavy attack from poachers in the past decade. This has placed a huge burden on the field rangers working here. Lately, that pressure has also increased for rangers in KwaZulu-Natal as poachers turn their attention to wildlife and in particular to rhino there. Now, the first and perhaps most important approach protecting biodiversity and wildlife-associated crime in our parks has to be the economic and social welfare of communities living adjacent to our protected areas. This is necessary if we are to avoid our youth falling prey to syndicates who are recruiting foot soldiers for illegal activities. The People and Parks program specifically focuses on people living adjacent to the protected areas, including those who have been historically displaced. Our biannual National People and Parks Conference provides communities living alongside our areas with a platform for engaging in forming our policy. In 2010, we launched the National Co-Management Framework, which has facilitated a number of co-management deals between communities and owners of private game reserves and enables transfer of skills, job creation, and other access to direct benefits. An access and benefit sharing framework ensures communities have access to natural resources for cultural, medicinal, and other consumptive and non-consumptive purposes. We have also expanded the conservation areas on communal land managed by local communities. All of these initiatives are now coordinated under the umbrella of Biodiversity Pakisa, which contributes to our national goals of job creation, poverty alleviation, as well as enterprise and skills development. Honourable Mayor, yesterday I had an opportunity to see from the air all of the communities along the western boundary of the park, and I was also briefed on some of the interactions that have taken place in recent times. I hope that in the not too distant future I can come back here and sit down with you. Some of the complexities that are impacting and how we solve those together. To optimize the economic development and job creation potential of our indigenous plant wealth, initiatives like the Bioproducts Advancement Network of South Africa are aimed at working with industry and conservation to ensure that rural women in particular benefit from the intellectual property rights of indigenous knowledge systems and the cultivation and harvesting of indigenous plants. This sixth administration, our department has set ambitious targets to transform the biodiversity economy. We are supporting 100 projects with infrastructure such as game fencing, water reticulation, game donations, training, and capacity building for new game farmers. But despite our best efforts, wildlife crime to threaten our biodiversity. Rhino poaching in particular remains a critical problem in our protected areas. In the past 3 years, I'm sure you will agree that we have shown some measure of success in decreasing rhino poaching, not only in our national parks but also in other protected areas, including provincial and municipal game reserves and private conservation areas. Last year, 2018, was the third consecutive year that rhino poaching decreased, with 769 reported incidents. 6 months of this year, there have been 318 incidents countrywide, a modest decline of 68 incidents over the past year. From January to June, 122 poachers were arrested here in the Kruger National Park, with 253 arrests being effected nationwide. A total of 61 firearms were also recovered in the operations that have been conducted in Kruger. These successes stem from the implementation since 2014 of the Integrated Management Plan. Use of technology, extensive anti-work on the ground, as well as the management of the rhino population itself. It also involves extensive international collaboration across our borders to ensure that rhino poachers are brought to book wherever they hide. And I'm very happy to say, ladies and gentlemen, that we have indeed improved significantly our relationships with our eastern neighbor Mozambique, and I will soon be writing to my counterpart there to thank them for the collaboration and cooperation that we are enjoying. Ladies and gentlemen, as we focus on the war against rhino poaching, we remember that you, our field rangers, are in the midst of this battle to save all of our plant and animal species, whether it be pangolin, reptiles, trees, and plants such as our cycads. I'm sure you will agree with me that the time has come for us to intensify and review in the war on illegal poaching and the wildlife trade. Together with our sister department in the Security and Justice Cluster, we need better controls over our ports of exit, more support in the war on the ground, and faster prosecution of offenders. Accordingly, I will be convening meetings with Mr. Bekele and Minister Ronald Lamola so that we can better coordinate our collective efforts against increasingly syndicated poaching. We also understand that for our rangers, fighting the war on the ground, more support is needed, be it through the provision of adequate and appropriate tools of trade or through reward and recognition. I am asking you, Mr. Mkateni, in your position as CEO of SANParks, to put forward a proposal to me in this regard. The success we have had would not have happened without you, our rangers. Today, we honor commitment and dedication to ensuring that our wildlife is protected. Today, we celebrate your achievements, and we also mourn with you the passing of those who have made the supreme sacrifice. As we know, Ranger Respect Matebula lost his life in July 2018 defending our rhino. Yesterday I had an opportunity to join the Matebula family at the plaque that has been unveiled at the site where he was killed. It was indeed, ladies and gentlemen, a very sad and poignant memory, as we were with his young son, who today is only 7 years old and will be growing up without the support and the love of his father. To the Matebula family, I want to say thank you. Sacrifice. We who are still here will pick up your son's fallen spear. We will continue his fight. He shall not have passed. In recent years, our rangers have had to understand how poachers think and remain one step ahead of these criminals aiming to kill and maim our wildlife. Unfortunately, some of you have also had to act against your own colleagues and friends, who in some cases have bowed to the lure of. In this regard, it's important that we salute the SANParks Ranger Wellness Program, which won an award at the Rhino Conservation Awards 10 days ago. We also express our thanks to Project Embrace, which assists our rangers to deal with the stress and trauma that accompanies working under dangerous and life-threatening conditions day in and day out. Congratulations go to Lance Corporal Samuel Ndlovu of the Kruger National Park, who was a joint winner of the Field Ranger of the Year award at the Rhino Conservation Awards earlier this month. He shared the position with Senior Sergeant Nadiru Lurmuyeni from Kenya. The SANParks Environment Crime Investigators also walked away with the award in the Political Judicial Investigative Support category for fighting against organized wildlife crime in South Africa. I would like to conclude today by extending my thanks and my gratitude on behalf of our country to all of our rangers, to those of you unsung heroes and heroines whose daily commitment and hard work has not been recognized in ceremonies or through awards, but who nevertheless continue to put your own lives on the line for your country. I choose today to beyond your work, beyond your uniforms, and beyond your rank. I choose to see you as community members, fathers, brothers, sisters, sons, and daughters in your own home. I see you as neighbors and community leaders in your own right. I see you as breadwinners and husbands and wives.
We're coming out of that address at the Kruger Gate near Skukuza in the Kruger National Park by the Minister of Forestry, Fisheries and Environmental Affairs, Barbara Creecy, just reminding us there here today on World Ranger Day that rangers usually work under life-threatening situations and sometimes get killed in the line of duty. Let's take a